Hey, you guys, it's William calling from Weeby Vlogs,
And I'm Freddie.
and we are going to discuss the semi-final two results. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right, just to kick things off, let's actually go through the list. In first place was Israel with 194 points, and in second was the Netherlands, just 10 behind on 182. Then you have Armenia, Switzerland, who actually won the overall Eurovision Song Contest, but they're only fourth here. Then Greece, Estonia, Latvia, Georgia, Austria, and Norway. And then, Freddie, what was the order of the non-qualifiers?
The non-qualifiers were Czechia opened on 38 points, followed by Denmark, Belgium, San Marino, Albania, and Malta at the bottom on 13 points.
Malta on bottom. Let's actually start with the non-qualifiers. I'm really curious. Who of the non-qualifiers would you have preferred to see make it, and who would you have kicked out?
Of the non-qualifiers, I always had a soft spot in my heart for the Czechia song. Pedestal was great. Olivia Rodrigo vibes. Malta, I think she absolutely deserved to go through. No question about that, right? The performance was kind of epic. Her vocals were great. I mean, I'm very sad. It gave me Beyonce Renaissance tour vibes. Albania, I think it was rightfully out. San Marino, sorry. You seem like really nice people, but I didn't love the song. Belgium, surprised it didn't go through, but I don't think it deserved to go through particularly. Denmark, loved Sava. She was amazing in person, very, very sweet. I think she just needed a better song.
Well, that was exhaustive. I just asked for one, but
sorry.
You gave us all six. Hey, they're ready to see.
What did you think about that?
I want Malta in. Of all the non-qualifiers, Malta is the one I want in, and the fact that she came last, that upsets me.
She opened, didn't she?
She opened, but it was so good. Malta has no neighbors. They often say this because they're in the middle of the ocean. But yeah, I'm just upset for that. I would have put Malta through. Who would I have taken out? I think Malta was more entertaining than. See, I love Dawn's though. I loved Dawn's. I liked Norway. I liked Austria. I liked Georgia. This is tough. My personal playlist, songs I will continue to listen to, I'm more likely to watch the Loop performance than I am the Israel performance, than I am the Latvia performance, than I am so maybe I would remove one of those two and put Malta in. Just based the Latvia stage show for me wasn't as incredible. The song is great, but the stage show wasn't as good as the song. But I am very happy Dawn's went through. We'll come to that later.
I guess also, I know Austria was such a fan favorite, and this is probably why Malta didn't go through, because they were quite similar offerings, and I feel like you're either going to vote for one of the two. And Austria had built up that hype in a way that people hadn't really looked at Malta before the contest.
True.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, Malta had a great stage show, and I really feel for them. I would have actually ranked Albania last, and in any case, we move on.
No, it didn't deserve to be last. No way.
All the other non-qualifiers, I understand why they didn't go through. I still love the Czechia studio cut. I think it's an incredible studio cut. And staging was good as well. But Norway was better in my mind than Czechia, if we're talking about that cusp.
I liked how Czechia used the screens. She should have lent into the pop rock vibe a bit more. It would have made more sense with the song. I think she added this kind of sensuality to the stage production that didn't really quite match. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to the TOP, the top. It was close at the top between two countries, Israel and the Netherlands. Now, what's interesting to me is that the Netherlands is only 12 points behind Israel, when we do know, or at least it's been reported online, there's been a very big campaign. I think you have the tweet from the journalist. There's been a campaign, to buoy support and get votes for Israel. But even with that, the difference between Netherlands and Israel was only 12 points.
Yeah, so Jonathan Tuval, who works for a think tank in Israel, said that ahead of last week's Eurovision, the Israeli government hired experts to set up voting communities across dozens of countries aimed at pumping up the popular votes for the Israel song. The effort was successful as the song won second place in the popular vote. That's in the final.
I don't know what he means by voting communities. It's a bit vague. So I think we need clarification about what voting communities means.
We did see lots of reports, and this is not unusual, but we saw reports of embassies calling their citizens interesting votes. We saw an advert in Times Square for the Rest of the World vote, and various YouTube adverts which purported to be funded by the Israel government.
We should point out that, in recent years, other countries have also done YouTube adverts. I don't know if it's the label or the government, but like advertising is not in and of itself unusual. However, I think, that tweet, the scale might have been bigger. And I don't know what he means by voting communities, because does that just mean encouraging people in different communities to vote? Or does that mean are we talking like burner phones and stuff? Because then that's a whole different realm. So yeah, it's just a bit messy. We need clarification about what all that means before we can actually say that much.
But of course, there would have been people, A, who liked the Israel song, B, who may have been sympathetic to Israel's cause, just as there are people equally going the other direction. So that's not to say that it didn't deserve televote points at all.
Yeah, because if you look at it, this was how many ballads do we have here?
Okay, we've got Israel.
There's
Albania
and Israel.
Is Denmark? Do you count that?
And
as
Denmark's
ballad?
more mid-tempo. I think Israel's the only what we would consider like a traditional Eurovision ballad in a way. It had that Eurovision ballady structure, so it was going to stand out, and the staging was effectively done. I personally didn't like the dancing, but it was effective staging, and it told a story.
And her vocal was very strong.
Yeah, so you can understand why this climbed high, and per your point, there are people who would be sympathetic as well to what's going on outside of competition that could have buoyed it. So the fact that it won isn't actually surprising, I don't think. I'm just surprised at how close it is, given that there was such a campaign, to get votes. But this also speaks to the strength of the Netherlands. This speaks to the strength of the Netherlands, that it was able to come second. Because really, you've got Israel and the Netherlands at the top. And then it's like, what? Is that a 45-point difference with Armenia in third? So those were the two big front runners.
I think Armenia third is actually more surprising than anything on this list. Beat Switzerland.
Yeah, it's funny because Switzerland also came fourth in the grand final, or was it fifth with the
Did Armenia
tied
beat
for
them
fourth
in the final?
No, but let's see. Switzerland tied for fourth, I believe, in the televote. Yeah. So, to cut a long story short, without jury support, Switzerland would not have been the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest. We know that because both Israel and Croatia beat Switzerland there. But here as well. And also, I spoke with insiders who, track Armenia's history at Eurovision closely, and they weren't remotely worried. They said, we've got a lot of friendly countries voting in this semifinal. They cited France, where there's a massive diaspora. They cited Spain. It was really quite interesting. And you look at this list, what other countries here would vote Armenia? They said that Greece often gives them points. There's a spirited vibe, festival feel. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I was more worried for Armenia than Armenia was.
I just think it's one of those songs that you want at Eurovision. Historically, through Eurovision, that's what I think of as like a really good Eurovision act. But these countries that I don't know a lot about, I don't really see much of them through the year other than on grand final night or semi-final too. And it just made me happy. And you know what? Some of the band, they weren't bad to look at either.
No, yeah, an attractive group. Jacko herself was gorgeous.
She's the Jamie Dornan lookalike in the background.
Yeah, are you talking about the French guy, Louis?
Was he French?
Yeah. The trumpeter.
Yes. Yeah.
Very handsome. They're a good-looking group, and what I love in the interview at the Weeby Blogs Emporia Lounge, it was so funny because Jacqueline was very clear. She's like, I don't like looking at cameras. I like chaos. I like doing my own thing. I don't like structure. But here on this stage, I have to be, camera one, camera two, camera three. And it's funny. She was just running around going, la, 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 la. And that's the vibe we love. Like, that's why I fell in love with Eurovision. It was like wild, crazy. It takes me back to
Exactly. It made me want to go to Yerevan.
It's an incredible place. It's an incredible place.
So fun. Even the little postcard. I mean, everything. I'm sold on the package. I'm booking my flights.
Should we do this?
Yes,
let's do this.
Someone posted a tweet. Hold on. The funniest tweet I saw, and I wish I'll try and find it somewhere and put it in comments, was that she seems like someone got a bit drunk at the wedding and they just gave her a microphone and she just went
for
wild.
It. Yeah. That is definitely her vibe. Like, honestly, watch our interviews on the Weeby Blogs YouTube channel. She is her own person.
Yeah.
And she kind of fits the spirit of her song where she's like, I'm not going to listen to people.
No.
So no, well done to them. And also in the final, she did great as well, didn't she? Armenia came, 8th? Was it a top 10 finish? Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were 8th.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun to beat some power hitters. I mean, the fact that they beat Switzerland here, the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest, that says a lot about their strength. Now, Switzerland coming fourth. This is very interesting, and I think, again, we talked about this in our first video about jury versus public.
But it's got to be Netherlands effect too, right?
You think the Netherlands...
We've taken Netherlands out, who took a massive chunk of televote points in the semi-final. Of course, they'll get a natural lift in the final.
Yeah, that's true. The Netherlands, because you could call Nemo's performance quirky, very polished, very professional, but it was quirky in a sense, the outfit certainly. And the Netherlands was also quirky, so I take your point. The Netherlands would have pillaged a lot of votes from Switzerland.
Yeah, and I don't know, they don't, like the genres have no similarities, but I just think kind of youngish people, I don't know, fun songs, you'd go for that.
Upbeat.
All right, you can. Well, some points are naturally going to divert to that other direction.
You're so tall in this video, by the way.
I'm sitting on we didn't have a second chair. So I'm on a little metal table.
I promise that I am taller than him. And then
that's what your sister said when she.
What'd she say?
It's like, I had no idea you were so short in real life.
She's so politic, isn't she? So polite. Yeah. But yes, Greece came fifth with 86 points. It's interesting. I thought Greece would have been a contender for top 3 in this semi. I really did. And I guess Armenia was the wild card here in that sense because they pushed them out.
Yeah. I mean, I think Greece was
Can I say one more thing? Sorry. Sure. There's a massive fall in points after Switzerland. Switzerland was on 132, and now we're down to 86, a massive drop.
But yeah, so Greece was always going to be quite divisive. People either loved it or hated it.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. And I'm one of the lovers.
Yeah.
I think Marina Satti's amazing. I wanted to come back and do Eurovision again. I think the staging was great, but it just, for some reason, the song didn't connect with everyone.
But fifth in a competitive semi-final is still fantastic. Yeah, really proud of her. Estonia coming 6th. Now, a lot of people, including the bookies, I think, had this on the cusp or they had it not qualifying. And here they are coming comfortably in 6th position.
I think it was one of those songs that resonated, but like that's why like people like my mum watch Eurovision. They'd laugh at these like burly men doing this like silly dance and singing. Like I think it was fun.
Big Daddy energy. They were vibing with it.
Yeah.
And also, I quite liked the tall harpa. I think whenever you have a traditional instrument and it's leveraged in a fun way, people get behind that. Because it's like, I mean, it's not anything marginal or silly, but the tall harpa is not something you see every day in the UK.
Absolutely not.
And so when you have Big Daddy energy going, you know, that's memorable.
And obviously, we heard all the commentators try and pronounce their names. So people were obviously looking. And then, William, can you pronounce the name of the song?
No, I cannot. I can't even remember the name of the song. In English, I know I really don't know anything about these drugs, but I can say vis minus and PUULUUP.
Oh, very good.
It was funny because when I was in the Estonian jury, she said, I know PUULUUP sounds weird in your language, like a loop of poo. In any case, now this is the big talking point. This was a beautiful moment. Latvia came 7th. Not borderline at all. 72 points, well ahead of Norway, 43 points. All of us loved the Laotian, the Latvian song when it came out. But then the staging, we were worried it was too hollow, too empty.
Yep.
I think what tipped the balance here, he's an incredible singer, no doubt. But when he cried and teared up at the end, when he said, thank you, Europe, you saw how much it meant to him, perhaps more than anyone else in the competition.
Yeah.
It meant something to him. And that sincerity, that's who Dons is. He's a sincere performer.
Yeah, and audiences naturally vote for people who connect with them emotionally at some point.
Yeah.
And, you know, it seemed really genuine. And it clearly was not written into his script or his stage performance. So I think that always does well with people.
I'm just so pleased for him.
Tugged on the heartstrings.
Oh, I did. He was so emotional at the Wee Wee Blogs Emporia Lounge, his eyes watering up. Like, just the sincerity of that man, you just want to hug him. He is an angel.
Shaped like a butterfly.
Yeah, shaped like a butterfly. The chest is shaped like a warrior.
Now, do you think his abs were like that underneath?
Oh, yeah, he's very fit. He's very physically fit. He's very physically fit.
So was that just because it was like really tight and you were seeing the actual outline of his body, or was he wearing like a Spider-Man suit?
So it was it was a breastplate.
Right. Okay.
But like underneath, I'm telling you, he is very physically fit. He keeps himself in top.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay, well, there's a demand. We will be sending out the Insta request after this video. Now, Georgia only coming 8th. I'm sorry, this upsets me. This was the classic Eurovision bump. You had Darko Dimitrov on this team. You had Ardit Jabrea from Albania producing this. This was like a powerful team, amazing voice, very camp, and she comes 8th. I'm glad she made it. First time since what? It was 7 years?
Yeah. I think the stadium was amazing. She sold it well, but I think she really did polish a turd. And I just don't think the song was great.
Yes,
I think it was very middle of the road.
I think the lyrics were quite bad. I loved the put out the fire bit. But I just love this. To me, this is what Eurovision is. It's wacky, it's crazy, and she can sing like no other.
No, she had amazing vocals, and the stage presence is
oh my god, the
amazing.
way she blew a kiss at the camera, and she was like waving.
Playful,
She's the best. I hope she could. Well, she won't come back anytime soon, but I hope she does eventually. She is a queen. Then we have Austria down in 9th. Wow.
I have feelings about this. I just don't think it was the high quality that it was hyped.
You're like that
up
with
to.
Willie Adams thought.
I just don't think I don't know. I just didn't buy it. I just thought it was a bit tacky.
Tacky in what sense? The clothing or the...
I thought that people who go to raves don't necessarily sing about raves. Even though she admitted that she's never been to a rave.
She's sweet. I really love her. She is the sweetest.
She is sweet, and she was an amazing dancer, but I don't know. Something was not right for me.
I think they had to make it
It was very 2004.
Yeah, but I think deliberately. You know, it was like there was like this deliberate sort of vintage, but now, I guess for me, there's clearly a trade-off, right? You can either dance full pelt world championship style as she would normally do, or you can like compromise and dance like maybe 50% capacity and have the voice. Because to do both at the same time, the way she's able to dance would be impossible. Watch videos of her. She is, I mean, you see how incredible of a dancer she is. But I think they definitely had to dial down the dance to maintain the vocal, which she did. I still think the camera work was messy. When she was dismounting and being unfurled, you thought she was injured, like a broken bird, as opposed to like someone deliberately...
Did you see in the grand final also the camera messed up?
Oh no.
Just right on the kind of pivotal dance break. So it kind of went pixelated, and I actually thought it was my TV, and people on Twitter are also complaining about it. So it was just like, so the whole world, literally, it just like, for about 5 seconds, it literally just went pixel and you didn't see anything.
I demand a refund. Give 30,000 euros back to Austria.
Albania.
But you know what was interesting? In the arena, this went down a treat. It got it was the last act in the final, but it got so much applause. People loved it. And she played with the audience, and she lived her dream, and I love her so much.
Vision.
She's a vision.
Yeah.
She's a vision. This filter is killing me. All right. What else is to be said?
Norway.
Oh, Norway coming last. I almost just want to copy and paste from our video we did in Trondheim at MGP, where we were told we were crazy. But effectively, we had said in that video, this is incredible, this is amazing, but voters won't understand it. And then we got swept up in the wave because A, we love Gåte, we love their staging, we've seen it evolve, and so then we were screaming jury winner, we were screaming, dark horse, and then it comes last among the qualifiers and last overall in the grand final. Freddie, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I just think, like, I'm glad they did it, I'm glad they sent it, it's taking a risk, but it's something that tugs too much on a national heartstring doesn't necessarily always sell with a wider European audience.
Ollie Alexander, for instance.
Exactly.
You could, so much love for him in this country, and less popular abroad, but still known, and then 0 televotes.
Yeah, I just think, and she's great. The vocal is amazing, and they're great ambassadors for Norway. Yeah, and I think also, as someone who's not particularly versed in that culture, I didn't necessarily know when the vocal was working or when it was completely off.
I totally accept your point, and it's because, if something's based on traditional goat herding, like I'm not familiar with goat herding either. So I don't know to what extent it's mimicry, to what extent she stepped on a nail. I totally get it. But they're also just the most lovely people. Yeah. Honestly, they believe in their craft. Kind of like Yolanda from Portugal. I feel like the Norwegians really believe in, amping up folklore, telling about Norwegian tradition, sharing this message, this art, like it means something to them. And I love them so much. And I'm not gonna name all of them, but there are a handful of artists I will continue to follow, and there are many I will not, but I will continue to follow Gåte because I'm obsessed with this genre.
I'm just really glad they qualified. And actually, a lot of people, including my mum, she's got a lot of airtime this one, said they loved it. So, it's it can be a hit with some people. It's just that Eurovision, you kind of want to win masses, not not a niche.
I think I know why your mother liked this, because it's based on goat herding, and she spent half her life trying to find you. Because, you know, sometimes in this building, I'm like, where is she? Where is she at? Hello? Pick up WhatsApp. Hello?
Yeah.
I need to get some
You're
silver.
probably not making the right noises.
We're going to leave that there. We're going to leave that there. Who is next? Oh, we've talked about
We've done
everyone. You know, we should spend some time talking about Joost Klein, just quickly. If Joost Klein had been allowed to compete in the final, if he had been allowed, he could have done some damage.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss this in the grand final video. But clearly, coming second, he finished above Armenia, Switzerland. They were both top 10 finishers. You know, and Switzerland obviously won the Eurovision Song Contest. Yeah. Wow.
Because you look in the final, just quickly, we have Croatia, Ukraine, and then Israel as well. All were picked to do really well with the televote, you know?
Yeah.
And so what on earth would have happened to that running order?
I think that the Netherlands would have taken some points away from Croatia and Switzerland, because those were also quirky acts.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think the Netherlands' presence in the final would have impacted Israel, because I think those voting blocks are very different.
Yeah. But that would have been... sorry.
Oh.
I think we're essentially saying that Israel probably would not have been impacted, but Croatia, Switzerland would definitely... Israel and Ukraine would not have been impacted, but Croatia and Switzerland for sure. And, you know... There are potential issues here for the EBU. If Ukraine or Israel had won, it would have set up a whole another crisis again.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It could have been a very different outcome for the whole event.
Dutch must be so disappointed, like extra disappointed, knowing how well he did in the semi-final. Because he clearly would have, basically, if you come first or second in your semi, you're pretty much guaranteed a top 10 finish, typically.
So bittersweet.
Top 5 finish. It's yeah, bittersweet indeed. I don't know how juries would have rated this, though. Do you think juries would have got behind it?
No.
I don't either.
No. The vote call in the semi-final also wasn't very good.
But the jury did put Croatia third overall.
But Croatia had a great
vote goal.
Same.
Yeah.
And I think, not to on him while he's down, but a lot of people were a little bit disappointed with the stage show.
With Joost Klein.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still came second with the televote.
So,
you know, y'all can eat your disappointment over there.
It did incredible on Spotify, didn't it? Like,
yeah,
it was charting so well. I mean,
highest on the top 50 at the moment.
Only
2 were left. When I last checked, only the Netherlands and Switzerland were on the top 50 global chart. So, yeah.
And, of course, we still don't fully know what happened behind the scenes, but I would like to see Joost Klein back one day. If he's not performing, then giving the votes.
You know what? Depending on how this investigation, you know, in the police situation wraps up, maybe the Netherlands, as a sort of, to the EBU, bring him back next year. And the campaign behind him would be huge. He's already got built-in pan-European support.
Yeah.
And then say the Netherlands win with him, that would be the ultimate to him being disqualified.
The Joost Klein show.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a big risk and it might not necessarily pay off, but I mean, it'd be cool.
But it's interesting, the Dutch, Estine has come out and said, you know, from Eurovision 2022, she said, look, backstage, there are a lot of cameras in your face. Presumably she meant those related to the EBU, TikTok, etc., like all the backstage footage. So maybe they should dial down the backstage footage so that artists can breathe. Because when you have like an amped up media presence, the artist can choose to engage with the media. They come out of the bubble, they say hello, then they go back.
Yeah.
But when you have all this stuff going on backstage, the artists have nowhere to turn off. So I think, interestingly, rather than dialing down fan media, etc., you should dial down the official coverage. Because that, according to the Netherlands, you know, all the backstage obligations, that was creating an atmosphere.
Yeah, or at least make it optional. Because, you know, the thing is, people choose to engage with the fan media.
Yeah.
And when they want to, and they have a great time doing it. But if you're coming off stage in a really high-pressure environment and you can't have any kind of relaxing time, that's
it's
going to
too
be a
much
problem,
for anyone.
right?
Too much for anyone.
And then imagine that, but coupled with the tensions that were this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, just before we go, as you know, Freddie and I, the whole reason he's in this circus is we have a podcast we sometimes do, What Really Happened at Eurovision. You can find it on our YouTube channel. You can find it on our RSS podcast stream. But we have more episodes coming up. We want to know what you want covered. So in the comments, please say for your podcast, please, what are some episodes we've already done?
We did Nebulosa. It was our latest episode about how Zora divided the feminist movement in Spain, so a lot of people found it deeply offensive. A lot of people thought it was the most empowering thing on earth. What else we did? We did Why Are Ukraine So Good at Eurovision?
We did Dana International. We talked about how she faced hate going to Eurovision, at Eurovision, and then she won, and she gave us a very beautiful interview.
Yeah, she was brilliant. Who else? Bosnia's first act. May they come back one day, yeah.
1993, that was a good one.
Luke Black, Karia.
Oh, the Luke Black one was really interesting. He really opened up about his pain, about what it was like. He's like, sure, I was super famous during Eurovision, but it was so difficult. And he obviously had to deal with national tragedy. There was a school shooting in Belgrade while he was at Eurovision, so he reflects on all of that.
Yeah, and then we had, obviously, for the Finland Karia episode, we had Matti, the assistant head of delegation for Finland, who gave us quite a lot of backstage information. It was very interesting, actually.
Yeah, super interesting. In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? Were you surprised by the semifinal 2 results? Who would you have kicked out? Who would you have put in? Do you think that Joost Klein could have made an impact in the final, given how he did here? Let us know here on Weeby Blogs.
Yeah, hit the like, share, but what are my buttons again, babes?
Hey, he's got a lot of buttons to push. So.
Okay, just hit subscribe, like, there's like a heart symbol, I think.
Yeah.
We have a Pinterest board, apparently, Instagram,
Allegedly.
Threads, Twitter, you know, you get it.
All right, we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.